Welcome to my floor. Let's talk about burnout. So all of that footage got corrupt. So we have to start over. Let's go start over, shall we? God, Jesus Christ. Okay. So I'm in my last quarter of university, and I have definitely experienced some burnout. I feel like most universities have experienced burnout. And it doesn't feel like something we've talked about until like the past 4 or 5 years-ish. But I do think that once you can name something, you can kind of spot it everywhere. I feel like, you know, that girl who's like, the Miriam of it. You know, the girl who's like, it's crazy to think that Da Vinci lived here because he did it. You know,
It's hard to believe I'm walking through the ruins of the first ever city, because I'm not.
Our lives are tiring as it is, be that in university or in a job. We don't have time to spend time with friends or enjoy our hobbies or spend time in nature. But to make all of this a little bit clearer, I think we should just get a good dictionary definition of what burnout is. Burnout is defined as exhaustion of physical or emotional strength or motivation, usually as a result of prolonged stress or frustration. It's when our body and our mind just they can't focus anymore and everything becomes impossible. But it isn't from a lack of motivation. Everything is stressful. Life is stressful. Work is stressful, and it's completely normal to feel like this. As a university student, you don't get to pick when you take your breaks. They're designed for you. You have spring break and winter break, and if you are stressed and burnt out anytime other than that, then good luck. You got to keep pushing. And then once you get behind, everything gets worse. Now you're burnt out, overwhelmed, and have the guilt of being a bad student, and have to catch up on all the work you missed last week, taking your mental health day. That became a mental health week. There's a lot to talk about here, and everybody's so different, so everyone is struggling with their mental health in a different way. But our coping mechanisms seem to be the same. For university students, there's a large culture of alcohol use, drug use, partying, and that's a way to deal with this too. Party culture has become just a normalized part of college life. We find our ways to escape, either with alcohol, with drugs, with video games, with self-isolation, even scrolling on TikTok for 10 hours a day. We're trying to get away from that stress. One of the main ways that I see myself and my peers trying to escape from that is through video games. Video games have gotten a lot of praise for their immersive experience, and that immersion is really something that can help beat burnout in small moments. You're able to fully exist in another world, in a game where the problems aren't your own and you have complete control over everything. That kind of control eases our stress and our burnout immensely. But this isn't always a good tool. Now, you can find advice in self-help books, online in articles. A therapist is probably a good bet, but don't find it here. I'm not trying to give you advice. I'm not qualified to do so, so you shouldn't take mine. My main confusion in this conversation came to escapism. As someone who finds herself escaping into video games, I wondered if that was actually helping me at all. I would start playing a game stressed about my life, and I would leave playing a game kind of still stressed about my life, just now with the added stress and guilt that I just wasted a bunch of hours playing a game and not doing my homework. Escapism isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, there's plenty of healthy ways to practice it. In a good book, a good movie, even just hanging out with your friends. Those can all be positive ways to escape. And from all the psychology articles that I read while researching for this, there are healthy ways to escape. It's just the ones that we're gravitated towards as college students are not normally the healthy ones. We escape with alcohol and drugs, with video games, with social media, and those are not the ones recommended on the psychology articles. I'm waiting for the plane. The planes! Night sky like shooting stars. The ways that college students tend to escape is not in the healthy ones. I'm not reading a book to get away from my reading a book homework. Normally, college students participate in binge drinking and drug use, which just seems like it's become a staple part of college culture. Now, I'm not admitting nor denying my participation in these activities. They are a good way to hang out with friends. You're able to play games, connect with people that you don't get to see every day. The alcohol breaks you out of the normal stress and allows you to be present in the moment, not thinking about your enormous workload that's been assigned to you that is all due on Sunday at midnight. You can breathe. This becomes habitual, both the party aspect but also the escape that alcohol gives. Everyone is depressed and everyone is going through a hard time. And university sells that depression like some kind of badge of honor only graduates get. If you thought you were depressed on Friday, just wait till you are on Sunday night after a night of binge drinking. Those symptoms get way worse. Now, I'm not saying all of this to shun party culture. I do think it's fun. I'm not trying to shame people who engage in it or it generally. I just want to raise some awareness that it's not actually helping. You don't wake up the next morning feeling relieved from all the stress. All that stress comes crashing back in with the added downing effects of alcohol consumption. Some people opt for what they deem to be less addictive forms of escape, like video games. It's not a chemical that's changing your brain in any way, but they are addictive. They're submersive, like we talked about, and you're in control, which we love as humans. And even the DSM-5 has created a new video game addiction, which I was surprised to learn about. It has all of the same side effects that addiction to alcohol or drugs has. You get withdrawals, you build up a tolerance, and you start to lose joy in the things that you like about your life. And they're not just addictive. Both video games and social media give you similar symptoms that causes burnout. The Anxious Generation is a book written by Jonathan Haidt, and he goes into great detail about this issue that comes from extreme phone and video game use.
Social media is particularly addictive for girls. Between 5 and 15% of girls, you could say, are addicted. The technical term is problematic use.
Yeah, what do you define that as?
So problematic use means it's compulsive use, and that's what makes it look like addiction. Like they feel they have to do it; they can't just put it aside. So it's compulsive use that interferes with other areas of life. So they're not getting their homework done, they're not seeing their family, they're not seeing their friends. There's a third feature.
Well, I noticed withdrawal behaviors. I mean, to me, that's
the third feature. That's the third
I
feature.
found
Yeah,
it.
that's right. So when you take it away. So like a boy on video games,
They look like addicts. They look like addicts.
That's right. If they're heavy users, right? So the majority of boys, they can go away for 3 days without symptoms, but 5 to 15% of them will have symptoms of withdrawal. And if they have withdrawal symptoms, and those are, Anna Lembke talks about these, it's anxiety, insomnia, dysphoria, and irritability.
It discusses how these habits make us feel derealized and depersonalized. We begin to remove ourselves from our lives even more. But we were escaping from burnout, which already removes you from your life. It already makes us feel derealized and disassociated. Our escape becomes the very thing we're trying to get away from. One of Jonathan's main claims is about synchronicity. Today we text each other, DM each other, WhatsApp each other, whatever other things you can use to asynchronously talk to each other, but we don't regularly call or phone each other. This leads to disconnect from others. We aren't getting that affirmation in a conversation that is normal or expected. We look for validation other places, like in likes or strangers' comments. But we don't get it from the people who actually matter to us. We don't get to express ourselves in the same way over text as we do in real life. But not all of this is asynchronous. Some people play games pretty synchronously. Like, mostly in boys, they will play games on the phone with each other, streaming it to each other, and they're able to collaborate and work in a team. They're working to solve group problems, and this synchronicity, Jonathan Haidt argues, is why we see the trends of boys being less anxious and depressed than girls are. Girl games are like The Sims or Stardew, and I mean that very generally. I understand girls can play League too. But girls miss girls miss out on this synchronous experience with their friends. Instead, they're isolating themselves even more into their escape. It may be interesting to mention, too, that studies show that women experience burnout more and to a higher extent than men do. Now, I'm not saying this is all because girls don't play synchronous video games, but it could be an aspect of it. Of course, women deal with a whole lot of other things that are probably adding to their workload and to their chronic stress, like inequality and invisible labor. But what is interesting to notice in this picture is that both video games and party culture can be positive when the focus is more communal. Being with friends, playing games in person or online, solving problems together seems to ease burnout symptoms more than escaping and isolation. Shocker, I know. Oh, I'm not urging you to stop or start playing video games or binge drinking. I think mindfulness about how you escape, how you handle your stress can be a great start. And know that time spent with community is shown to have great impacts on our well-being. So next time you want to play Sims, maybe call a friend who does too. When you escape and isolate yourself, there's no one there to show you how much they love you, but that doesn't mean they're not out there loving you. It's okay to need support sometimes, even if that's just a video game buddy. I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm rage quitting.
She's a YouTuber.
Touch. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.